Good evening, everyone. We are welcoming you in a Bonik Barta interview. We are very happy to have Richard John Roberts with us. He's a Nobel Laureate in Physiology or Medicine in 1993. He will give a lecture in North South University on GMO crops in Bangladesh, policies and practices. This event is jointly organized by South Asian Institute of Policy and Governance, SIPG, and NSU UWA Agribusiness Center of Excellence. Firstly, we like to congratulate Sir Richard John Roberts for being in Bangladesh. Thank you for giving us your valuable time. We want to know what brings you here in Bangladesh. Is it your first journey or?
No, I've been several times. I'm on the advisory board for North South University. And so I've been here at a graduation ceremony and also for board meetings of one sort and another.
In the last couple of months, there is a massive dengue outbreak here in Bangladesh. Do you think we could control it better, as 1,300 people died and 2.5 lakh people are hospitalized almost? Do you think we could better control it?
People are developing vaccines against dengue, and eventually that probably will happen. But another way of controlling it is to try to control the mosquitoes that carry dengue and pass it on to you. And there are some quite interesting advances that have been made on that front by making mosquitoes that are not able to support the dengue virus.
What health hazards we should worry about in countries like Bangladesh and any other all developing nations?
I think the biggest health hazard is hunger, poverty. These are the big problems, I think, in many developing countries. The population that is poor, you have a very large poor population, they don't have access to the kind of medicine that you and I have access to. I think there are things we can do about that. They don't have access to the kind of food that you and I, we can go to the restaurant here. We have massive choice of food. But many of the poor people do not have that choice of food. For them, food is medicine.
Do you think we can have better potential for golden rice, which is being produced in Philippines and other nations? We are yet to start cultivating golden rice.
I know, and that is stupid, frankly, that you're not doing it. I was here many years ago talking to your group that decides whether or not they're going to approve it. And as far as I could tell, everybody except for one member was in favor of approving it, and somehow he was able to stop it. And it is crazy. You can save the lives of children by growing golden rice and making sure that they get enough beta carotene and then vitamin A to keep them alive. Why would you not do this?
Do you think COVID-19, like another pandemic, will visit us in near future, and what should be our preparedness for such scenario?
Yes, it will. No doubt about it. There will be more pandemics. There are ways, I think, that we can prepare for it. In the West, we are doing something in some countries to prepare for it. The US is not a particularly good example here, unfortunately, but I think Europe is getting prepared. But it's more difficult for you. It's more difficult here where the resources are more limited. But I always take hope from the Serum Institute in India, which is a wonderful organization. They've been making vaccines. They're able to make vaccines that will enough for the whole world. And they're making them at a price that the world can afford. I have a great deal of respect for them. I visited them recently. I will go and visit them again next year. And I hope that our company can work with them in order to help them do better on the vaccine front. Because of the new mRNA vaccines that were made for COVID, if another pandemic shows up, we should be able to make the vaccines very quickly, much more quickly than we ever were able to in the past.
During the COVID pandemic, we have seen there is vaccine skeptics all around. How we can fight this skepticism?
Well, I think the most important single thing we can do is, when you're educating the children in school, teach them about science. Teach them that science is something that can help them, it can save them, it's wonderful for them. Don't let social media overtake the conversation. Social media is very good at spreading misinformation and disinformation about science, and you shouldn't listen to it too much. You know, scientists are humanitarian people. They want to help you. They want to help everybody. Why would you not listen to them? Why would you not, governments support them, governments pay funds for them to do research. Why don't governments listen to them? Why don't the people listen to them? And I think social media bears a big responsibility here by allowing people who want to be opposed to science to air their views and amplify them and get them out to the people, to a receptive audience. Social media, in my view, is not a good thing. It really doesn't help us.
So you think Facebook, Twitter, and platforms like YouTube are enhancing the divide between science and anti-science?
They absolutely are. There was a time, I'll give you an example. So you can ask how many people in this world think that the earth is flat. They don't believe that it's round. They think it's flat. Do you know how many people there are in the world who believe this?
No idea.
A few thousand, okay? They were never a force against science until Facebook and social media came along, and now they can all talk to one another and they can amplify one another's views. It really isn't good. Social media, thanks to AI and thanks to their intention to make money whenever they can, they love conspiracy theories. They love to go against science. It is crazy. You have a cell phone, yeah?
Yeah.
Right. Do you know where that came from? Why do you have a cell phone? How was that possible? Because of science. How was the COVID vaccine possible? Because of science. How was the tests for COVID possible? Because of science. Almost everything that goes on in this world today is thanks to science. There was a time we didn't have cars, we didn't have buses or trains. People were riding around in buggies. Why were we able to get better forms of transportation? Because of science.
So
Science
you are
is
a great
good.
advocate of science.
We are. We
And
really are.
we all should be.
Yeah, we should be. Yeah. Diabetics, they take insulin. Do you know where they get human insulin from? Have you ever been asked to go to a clinic and donate your insulin? No, they do it because of science, because we took the gene for human insulin, put it into a bacterium or put it into a yeast, and now we can make large quantities of it. And then we can help diabetics. This is science. This is GMOs. This is wonderful, right? Do you not want more of this?
In our education system, it is more memorization than problem solving. Do you inspire our young kids who may listen to you? What is essential to be good student, good observer in science,
I think
develop keen interest in science?
yes, the most important thing is when you're young, people are always asking questions. Young kids, they ask questions. They're very curious. We should answer them. We should give them the opportunity to learn science when they're young, to listen to science when they're young. If we teach them properly, they will be very good. But unfortunately, a lot of politicians don't want the populace to be educated, okay? Because if the populace is really educated, they see right through the politicians and they realize what shits they are. So let's educate the children. I gave a talk not too long ago to a class of 11 and 12-year-olds who were anti-GMO. I talked to them about GMOs. They were not anti. They were neither one way or the other. And one of the young girls who was there wrote to me afterwards and said she'd gone home, talked to her parents who were anti-GMO, told them what I'd been saying, and now her parents were convinced that they should be pro-GMO. They should be in favor of them. Kids are wonderful. Kids are really good, but we have to teach them. We have to give them the opportunity to ask questions, to learn, and they're an open book. I love kids.
In our culture, in our country, if you fail at something in your skill, they're being tormented by parents and society altogether. Right. I have studied your bio. I've seen you fail at 16 in physics.
Right.
yet you...
Failure is good. I think anybody who tells you that failure is bad, they're idiots. Failure is good. This is how you learn. You try something, it doesn't work. Bill Gates, when he started his first company, it failed. And now he's head of Microsoft. People learn by failing. And I think for parents or teachers or anybody else to tell kids that failure is bad, huge mistake. Failure is good, because this is when you learn. Do you know why flying on an aircraft is so safe? Because every time an airplane crashes, they do a massive post-mortem to figure out what went wrong and then correct it so that it never happens again. This is the value of failure. Failure is good. It's a good thing.
Now I will come back to GMO. Why you are branded as an ardent supporter of GMO?
Because I think, so you have to realize one of the things that I've been doing since I won the Nobel Prize is to try to fight every time misinformation or disinformation about science is put out. And there has been so much disinformation, deliberate misinformation about GMOs put out by Greenpeace, by the anti-GMO parties. And they do it for all the wrong reasons. They do it because it makes money for them and because it gives them political power. It's totally wrong. And I think as a scientist, looking at I don't work on GMOs, but looking at the GMO science, it is solid. It is good. There's not been a single problem in almost 40 years since GMOs were first developed. Not one problem. Not a single one. You can't say that about plants that have been modified by traditional techniques. They often have problems. The nice thing about GMOs is it's a very precise way of changing a plant. Initially, it was not as it wasn't as precise as you would like it to be, but now it's very precise. Thanks to CRISPR, thanks to the modern techniques, certainly techniques that will come in the future, it is precise. We know exactly what changes we're making in the plant. You can't say that for traditional breeding, and traditional breeding takes a long time. Modern methods are fast. Why would you not embrace these? The developing world needs better plants. Typically, the plants that you eat, the foods that you eat, are not ones we eat in the West. And in the West, the agricultural companies have spent huge amounts of money developing better plants, plants that produce more seeds, plants that grow faster, plants that are resistant to drought, using traditional techniques. But that's very slow. There was money to be made on the West, so it was fine. They're happy to do it. But you go to the developing countries, you come to Bangladesh, where's the money to pay for the development of the plants that you eat? BT brinjal is probably the best example of something that has happened in Bangladesh that has allowed farmers to benefit from GMO methods. Why would you not do more? Why do you not allow golden rice and other GMO plants to be grown here? Because there is some idiot who is on the board that is making these decisions who is opposed. And somehow he's successfully opposed these. This is wrong. It really is wrong. He is misguided. He is misleading people. He is telling facts about science, supposedly, that are simply not true. I got involved in this because I was so disheartened at what was going on in Europe. Because in Europe, they don't need GMOs. And so they could be opposed to them and no consequences, no money consequence, all right. But in the developing world, you need GMOs. This is the way you can improve your plants. Local scientists can do it, can make it available to the farmers. Why not? Why would you not want to feed the people who live in Bangladesh? Do you want to feed them?
The skeptics say it will bring seed colonization. The control over seeds will be to the few companies.
But it doesn't have to be done by companies. It can be done by the government. It can be done by government scientists who can make the seeds available. They can make them and make them available to everybody. This is a government decision. You don't want to leave it to companies. But even if you do leave it to companies, they will make some money. You know, all seed companies make money. It's called business, yes? The government can control it. The government can decide whether this profit is enough or not enough. But the point is that the scientists in the universities here can make these improvements and can help you. The government has to decide who's going to make money as a result of that. Personally, I would let the scientists make money so they can do more research and develop better crops.
From the last year, the world has seen acute food crisis, especially Africa, Asia and Latin America. How do you think science can alleviate this crisis?
If you look at the crops that are grown in many of these countries, they're crops that have never been improved by the agricultural companies, because the agricultural companies want to make money, and they make their money in the West, in the developed world. They don't make it in the underdeveloped, in the developing world. And so they've done nothing to help the developing world. They can't make money, so they don't do anything. But now, thanks to modern biotechnology methods, you can do it yourself. You don't need the big companies in order to improve your crops.
On Pew Research, we have seen that only 37% US adults have trust in GMO foods, whereas 88% of American scientists support GMOs. Why there is sharp difference between the common people and the scientists?
Okay. Well, I think the
regarding GMOs?
combination of poor education and social media has made a huge difference. If you look in the US, for instance, we do not educate the kids as well as we should. And particularly when you go into the Republican states, we do not educate the kids very well. And they're now busy banning books. Republicans want to ban books. You know, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I grew up in England. Books were banned. You go to France, you could buy them. We knew which books to buy and read. These were the ones that were banned in England, and you could buy them in France. Politics is just getting very, very strange in the US. The Republicans are anti-science for reasons that, frankly, I don't understand. They have benefited, their constituents benefit, the whole world benefits from science. Why would you not support it?
Our lands are scarce and population is huge. How we can ensure our food security in Bangladesh?
Yeah.
What steps we should take?
Well, you should make it very easy for people to develop GMOs to improve the crops that you grow and that you eat, so that the smallholder farmers who are growing their own food and growing for their neighbors can actually benefit from better and better crop. Drought is going to be a big problem because of climate change. Various crops that you grow, the nutrients in them could be improved. There are many ways in which we can help using GMO techniques. Let the scientists do this. They know what they're doing. Let them do it, and then make sure that the products are available to the people within Bangladesh.
You love bacteria.
I do.
Considering the antibiotics used en masse in Bangladesh as well.
Right.
Do you think we need to worry about this?
We do. We
Antibiotics?
absolutely do. You know, if I kill all of the bacteria that live with you, you will die. They're keeping us alive, right? They have a bad name because for 100 years in the West, we just looked at the pathogens. We just looked at the bacteria that were causing disease, neglecting the fact that most of the bacteria that live with us are helping us survive. They don't want us to get sick, and they actually help us to fight pathogens. So this is why I love bacteria. And I think antibiotics, when they're used carefully, when they're prescribed by a doctor, can be very helpful and can be very good. But if you allow them to be sold to anybody who wants to buy them without a prescription, you're going to get antibiotic resistance. And so then their value just disappears. The bacteria that grow, they're going to be resistant to them. So we have to stop making them so available.
How AI and technology can improve agricultural production?
You want an hour's lecture or 2 hours?
No, that's 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, you know, AI is still very much in its infancy in terms of how it can help us. You know, in order to have a conversation about that, you need to spend a lot of time talking about the upside and the potential downside, and the fact that we need to regulate the use of AI in ways that governments haven't figured out how to do yet. And in fact, AI is rapidly, it's increasing, it's going along so fast that governments they're not able to control it because it's going faster than they can write the regulations. So I think AI is going to be very useful, but the key to AI is to make sure that the data that we train the AI programs is solid. We want to make sure that it's factual, that it's accurate. Don't want to just take it off Google's website or some social media website. You want to make sure there is a good, accurate database that you train the AI algorithms on.
What makes you a scientist?
I'm curious. I love asking questions. I want to know how things work. And in my case, I want to know how bacteria work.
Thank you for giving time, Bonik Barta. We are very happy that we have allowed us for such a long time interrogating you.
Very welcome. Very welcome.
I think our readers will love it.
Good, good.
Thank you again
Okay, you're welcome.
for giving us time.